Hey, English learners, welcome back to Rise English. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Sophie. So glad you're here today.
Here's something I hear a lot, and maybe you felt this too. You understand English pretty well, you watch shows, you get the jokes, you follow conversations, but the moment it's your turn to speak, something shuts off. The words are there somewhere, but they won't come out. And then the moment passes and you think, I knew that. Why couldn't I just say it?
That specific feeling, that gap between understanding and speaking, that's what today is about. And here's the thing, it's not about your vocabulary. It's not about confidence. There's actually a very clear reason this happens inside your brain. And once you understand it, you can do something about it.
By the end of this episode, you'll know exactly why your brain does this, and you'll have 4 concrete things you can start practicing starting today. We're also going to talk about a 21-day frame and why that specific window matters more than you might think. We'll get to that.
And stay all the way to the end, we have our words of the day, where we slow down and look closely at the most useful language from today. Those are always worth keeping.
Okay. So let's get into the real thing. Most people think this is a vocabulary problem. They think I just need to learn more words and then I'll be able to speak. But that's not it.
You can have a huge vocabulary, read English books, watch English shows, understand almost everything, and still completely freeze when it's your turn to speak. Because understanding English and producing English are 2 completely different brain processes.
Here's what's actually happening. When you need to speak, your brain runs a 4-step loop. It hears the question in English, converts it to your native language, thinks of the answer in your native language, then translates it back to English. 4 steps in real time. While you're also trying to maintain eye contact and look calm, that detour costs you exactly the time you don't have.
And it's not your fault. Your brain built that route because it was trying to help. Translation was the only tool available when you started learning, so your brain used it. The more it used it, the more automatic it became. It's a habit, and habits can be changed.
Think of it like this. Your brain is a forest. You need to get from point A hearing something to point B speaking in English. Right now, the direct path isn't clear, so your brain takes a long route through your native language every single time. But if you walk a new path consistently, the grass wears down, the route gets clearer, and eventually you don't think about it. You just walk.
That's what we're building, a direct path. English in, English out. Not replacing your native language, adding a second highway that runs straight through. And here's what we're going to show you today. That highway already exists in parts of your brain. Every time you understood something in English, without translating, that was it. We're just going to make it wider. So, 4 strategies. And the first one you can start within the next hour. Throughout your day, you have thousands of small thoughts. I'm hungry. This is taking forever. I need to reply to that message. Most learners let those thoughts happen in their native language without noticing. Mental substitution means you catch those thoughts and express them in English instead. And I want to be precise about the word expressing, because it's not the same as translating. Translating means looking for the perfect equivalent. One thought becomes one sentence. Expressing means finding any natural way to communicate that idea. And in English, there are usually several ways. That's actually what flexibility in a language feels like from the inside.
So here's what this looks like. Say your first thought in the morning is, I'm so tired. Don't stop there. Push it 1 step further. How else could you say that? I didn't sleep enough. I need about 3 more hours. Why does my alarm do this to me every single morning? Same feeling, completely different expressions, and here's why that matters. In real conversations, you often need to rephrase something. If you only have one route to an idea and someone doesn't follow, you're stuck. Multiple expressions means multiple routes. That's what makes you flexible and unfreezable.
The exercise is simple. Pick 3 moments in your day, morning routine, commute, making food, whatever is automatic for you. During those moments, narrate what you're thinking or doing in English, and then challenge yourself. Say it at least 2 different ways. Not because the first one is wrong, because having more than one route is the whole point.
And start small, genuinely small. The coffee's hot. I need to leave in 10 minutes. I don't feel like doing this. Simple sentences all day long. That's the foundation. Once it feels natural, you build from there.
Something to notice. You don't need to say these out loud at first. This works in your head. Because the point isn't volume, it's interception. You're interrupting the automatic route and redirecting it. Every time you do that, the English path gets a little more worn in.
Strategy 2 is about your inner voice. That constant commentary running in your head, the one that never stops. What language is it speaking? For most learners, it's their native language, 100% of the time. That makes sense. That's the language you've been thinking in your whole life. But that inner voice is also the most powerful language practice tool you have because it's always available. You don't need a partner, you don't need an app. You just need to start redirecting it.
Now we're not saying flip a switch overnight. That's not realistic and it's not necessary. Start with a bilingual bridge. You have a thought in your native language, then repeat it in English right after. You're still going through both at first, but here's what happens over time, and this is the part that's genuinely exciting. The English starts to come first. Your brain figures out it's faster. It starts taking the direct route on its own.
And here's the piece most people miss. Connect your inner monologue to your actual emotions. There's real neuroscience behind this. Emotions are processed in a deep part of the brain, and when language is tied to genuine feeling, it gets encoded differently. It sticks. It becomes automatic. This is why people learn swear words in a new language. Incredibly fast, strong emotion, strong memory. Use that same principle with everything you feel.
So when you're frustrated, really frustrated, don't just think, I am frustrated. Think, this is ridiculous. I cannot believe this is happening right now. Why is this so hard? Real feeling, real language. When you're excited, this is actually incredible. I've been waiting for this. Let English be the language of your actual inner life, not just your textbook exercises.
For the exercise this week, 3 times a day, when you feel something, anything, express that feeling in English in your head. Don't reach for the textbook phrase. Use real language. The messier, the better. Because that messiness is exactly what real English sounds like.
Strategy 3 is about what you're putting into your brain. Because the direct English pathway you're building, it needs quality material to grow on.
And here's where a lot of people go wrong in 2 opposite directions. Some stick with content that's too easy, comfortable, but not challenging. The brain isn't making new connections. On the other side, some people jump straight to native level content, fast news podcasts, complex discussions, and they get overwhelmed. They feel like they're failing. They stop. Neither works.
What actually works is content where you understand around 70 to 80%. Comfortable enough to follow, but with enough new vocabulary and structure to keep your brain active. That 20% you don't fully catch? That's exactly where the growth is happening.
And this one matters more than people expect. Choose content about things you actually care about. If you love food, find English cooking content. If you follow sport, read sports commentary. Your brain works harder when it wants the information. Motivation is not separate from learning. It is learning.
One more technique that's really underused: listen to the same content more than once, but spaced out. Listen today. Come back in 3 days. Listen again in a week. each time you catch more. Each time the language feels a little more natural. That spaced repetition is how the pathway gets deeper and stronger, not just wider.
Strategy 4, and this is the one people skip most often because it feels uncomfortable. You can do all the mental work in a monologue, mental substitution, perfect input, and still freeze the moment you open your mouth. Because speaking is physical. Your mouth, your breath, your rhythm, they need their own training. You cannot think your way to fluency.
And the good news is you don't need a conversation partner to start. You can do the most important practice completely alone. 3 specific techniques.
First, shadowing. Find a native speaker you like, a podcast, a YouTube video, a scene from a show. Repeat what they say, trying to match not just the words, but the rhythm, the stress, the pauses, the way sentences rise and fall. Start with pause and repeat. Hear a sentence, pause, say it. When that feels okay, try real-time shadowing speaking along with them like an echo. It will feel impossible at first. That's the point. You're training your mouth to move at native speed.
Second record yourself. Nobody loves this. But here's what it gives you that nothing else can. Honest feedback. You might think your pronunciation is clear. You might think you sound natural. The recording tells you the truth. And the move that makes this actually useful, don't try to fix everything. Pick 3 specific things you notice. Maybe you're speaking too fast. Maybe you're dropping the ends of sentences. Maybe your intonation sounds flat. Work on those 3, record again, compare. This is how you become your own best teacher.
And third, narrate your life out loud. This sounds strange. It feels strange the first time, but it's one of the most effective things you can do. When you're making food, getting ready, going for a walk, describe what you're doing, thinking, and noticing out loud in English. Okay, I'm going to start with the onions. I always cry with onions. This is not my favorite part. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be spontaneous, because spontaneous is exactly what real conversation asks of you, not perfect sentences. Real ones.
When your hands are busy with something automatic, your brain is free to focus on the language. That's when the practice is deepest.
Let's be honest about something. You're going to have moments where you still freeze, even with all of this. And when that happens, it doesn't mean the strategies aren't working. It means you're human and you're doing something genuinely hard.
Have some bridge phrases ready. Not because you don't know English, but because thinking takes time, and these phrases give you that time without breaking the conversation. Let me think about that for a second. That's a good question, actually. How do I put this? Native speakers use these all the time. They're not stalling. They're thinking out loud. That's all you need to do.
And when you can't find the complex expression, simplify. Don't give up on communicating. If you can't say, I'm weighing the long-term implications of this decision, say, I'm not sure yet. I need more time to think. Same meaning. You communicated. That's a win.
And about plateaus, because they will come. Weeks where you feel like you're practicing and nothing is changing. Here's what we want you to know. Your brain is still working during those weeks. It's consolidating. It's making connections you can't see yet. And then one day, one ordinary conversation, something comes out in English before you've even had time to think about it. And you realize, that wasn't translation. That was just me.
Before we close, let's slow down for a moment. This is our words of the day. We go back through some of the words from today and look at them more carefully. Not because you didn't understand them, because they're worth keeping.
First word, detour. Ryan said, that detour costs you exactly the time you don't have. A detour is an indirect route when you go the long way instead of the straight way. My brain takes a detour through my native language every time I try to speak. We took a detour through the old neighborhood on the way home. Say it with me. Detour, detour.
Next. Spontaneous. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be spontaneous. Spontaneous means it happens naturally, without preparation. Her reaction was completely spontaneous. You could tell she didn't plan it. I prefer spontaneous conversations to ones that feel rehearsed. Say it with me. Spontaneous. Spontaneous.
And one more rephrase. We talked about this in Strategy 1. If you only have one route to an idea, you can't rephrase. To rephrase means to say the same thing a different way. Can you rephrase that? I didn't quite follow. I rephrased my answer and she understood immediately. This is also a really useful thing to say. When you don't understand something in a conversation, just ask, could you rephrase that? Polite, direct, works every time. Say it with me. Rephrase, rephrase.
Your micro challenge, pick one of those 3 words. Make one sentence about your own life with it. Say it out loud right now. And if you want to share it, put it in the comments. We read every single one. So here's a timeline we want to set for you. 21 days. And here's why that number specifically. Research on habit formation shows that 3 weeks of consistent repetition is when the brain starts treating a new behavior as default, not just something you're trying, but something you do. Week 1, you'll start catching yourself translating. That awareness alone is a real change. Week 2, English thoughts will start appearing without you forcing them. By week 3, there will be genuine moments where English just comes. No detour, no wall, just the direct path.
And here's the reframe we want to leave you with. Instead of thinking, I am learning English, try thinking, I am becoming someone who thinks in English. That shift matters. It changes how you show up to practice. It changes what you tolerate. It changes who you're becoming.
Be patient with yourself. What you're doing is one of the most complex things a brain can learn to do. Every time you try, even when it's clumsy, even when you freeze, you're building. You're making the path a little clearer.
Your homework this week, pick one strategy from today. Just one. And do it every single day for the next 7 days. Not 4 strategies, not a perfect plan. One thing, done consistently.
Then come back and tell us which one did you choose and what happened. Leave it in the comments. We read every single one.
Take care of your English.
And take care of your growth. This is Rise English. See you next time.